What does the future hold, and how do you stay ahead? Circular Economy for the Management of Operations offers a clear-eyed look. We will focus on what it says about management and economy. Stay with me, the best part is near the end. Chapter 1 contains all the chapters related to achieving sustainability through. To follow the same section objective, in Chapter 5, Meditar Sinner, Lina N. Fuki discuss that all the major industries are shifting from the linear economy to CE, which aims at how the generated water can be transformed or value adds to the industry by modifying the production and consumption of the resources. The hospitality industry is also touched by this change. Hospitality and tourism industry has experienced an extraordinary growth in the recent decade that has catalyzed the requirement of the hotels, which in turn has made people think about the serious issue of water generation, which in the hotels, kitchen, storage and lodging area of hotels are considered to generate a large amount of waste and hence makes it one of the primary sources of waste origination. So, this research focuses on the major difficulties and opportunities that hotels encounter by adopting this transformation. In Chapter 6, Shikhar Verma and Anakriti Dixit provide an extensive review of the recommended strategies and solutions presented in the existing literature while exploring the risks and opportunities associated with remanufacturing practices in the Indian automobile sector. The authors present a CE framework with potential pathways for innovation through the amalgamation of governance and industry practices. While the existing state of literature has explored barriers to and recommendations for more sustainable remanufacturing practices which focus on the quality of end products, the energy efficiency of the remanufacturing supply chain, SC, and rebates and relaxations offered through policymakers, this chapter presents a novel case for a cohesive and entirely co-operational systemic intervention on the part of policymakers, industry partners, and the consumers at large. While traditional business models focus purely on an inward-looking approach through the resources, skilled labor, and revenue trinity, we find that a more sustainable approach is through the development of cooperation in each leg of the state consumer industry framework. Chapter 2, entitled Applications of Advanced Methods in the Adoption. Contribute to the same section objective, in Chapter 8, Mukesh Kumar, Rahul S. Moore, Sobjit Singh, Vikas Kumar Chubey explained that today, the manufacturing sector necessitates a highly productive system, maintenance-free machinery and multi-skilled operator for enhanced sustainability and productivity gains. The total productive maintenance, TPM, can serve as a means of attaining these goals as well as increased productivity for industries. In this study, TPM is implemented in the manufacturing industry and overall equipment effectiveness, OEE, is calculated for machinery performance. The data is collected through a questionnaire study conducted for the employees as well as breakdown summary sheets of the industry. In the analysis, it has been observed that the forging machine takes a long time to set up, and has a maximum number of non-value-added movements in the process. A single-minute exchange of die, SMED, tool is implemented to reduce the setup time of the forging machine to 67 minutes per setup, which in turn allows production of approximately 984 more products per day. A sustainable maintenance schedule is implemented for better performance of machinery and to train the workers to detect faults in the machine. A comparison of OEE before and after TPM implementation is carried out and found a significant improvement, and hence concluding that TPM helps the industry to achieve sustainability in the manufacturing industry. Chapter 3 contains all chapters related to CE and related area. To contribute the same section objective, in Chapter 11, R. Daxina Murthy and Lena James discuss CE practices in the retail sector. They explained that the retail sector has seen tremendous growth and is expected to grow at 15–20% in the next decade. The core of the retail operation is the logistics operation, which ensures that the material required at the point of sale is available when it is most needed. The adverse effects of logistics operation result in the degradation of the environment due to emissions of greenhouse gases, GHG, into the atmosphere. Through the adoption of green logistics, detrimental effects of logistics on the environment can be minimized. The research objective here was to ascertain the level of awareness about green logistics among the organized retail players and review the operational level practices of green logistics by the retail sector, leading to identifying the main drivers for adoption of green logistics practices to achieve a CE. The population included retail players dealing with categories such as food and grocery, general goods, apparel, and consumer electronics. Government policy and regulations, environmental degradation, and the CSR and corporate leadership in sustainability have significant influence on sustained adoption of green logistics, and the results of ANOVA indicate that for all the three constructs, the respondents' views do not differ between one another among various categories of retail. Measures to achieve CE through green logistics by organized retail units to establish sustainable operational practices have been suggested. In Chapter 12, Sarika Yadav, Rahul S. Moore and Simon Peter Nadeem explain how CE practices can achieve in the agriculture sector. They mention that agriculture is a major source of livelihood for the majority of the Indian population, but the declining role of agriculture in the country's GDP, inflation, and failing food security and sustainability policies are the concerns currently. The contribution of the food sector in net carbon emission is a key issue for policymakers who for long have relied upon green revolution as an answer to feeding the country. The flaws in agri-food policies are now being exhibited in record-breaking inflation, food import, and changing climate patterns. To solve the aspects of India's repercussion of our disfigured stratagem, quick actions are imperative in terms of adapting food models that would suffice the current and future demands of food supply without tempering the adequate climate pattern. Holistic mitigation and adaptation is the phrase that stands for holistically mitigating current ecological damage and adapting quick food system models to sustain the availability of food to all without disturbing the ecosystem. This chapter represents the current scenario of the Indian food system, the loopholes in the agri-food policies, the effect on the environment, and a sustainable food system model based on an array of micro-entrepreneurship that mitigates the current damage and adapts sustainable steps towards the re-establishment of food security. The last chapter of this section is all about supply chain network design models for a CE, a review and a case study assessment. This chapter, Srijit Balasubramanian, Vinaya Shukla, Avindu Upadhyay, Marshad Garadash and Manoush Garadash explain that the global SCS are getting increasingly dispersed, and hence, more complex. This has also made them more vulnerable to disruptions and risks. As a result, there is a constant need to reconfigure, redesign them to ensure competitiveness. However, the relevant facets for doing so are fragmented and scattered across the literature. This study reviews the literature to develop a holistic understanding of the key considerations, environment, cost, efficiency, and risks, in redesigning global SCS. This understanding is then applied to assess the global SC network of a leading multinational tire manufacturing firm, also, to provide recommendations on redesigning it. The study has significant practical and research implications for global SC management. Thanks on behalf of the editors. Acknowledgements. The editors would like to acknowledge the help of all the people involved in this project and, more specifically, to the authors and reviewers that took part in the review process. Without their support, this book would not have become a reality. We would like to thank each one of the authors for their contributions. The editors wish to acknowledge the valuable contributions of the reviewers regarding the improvement of quality, coherence, and content presentation of chapters. Most of the authors also served as referees. We highly appreciate their double task. We are grateful to all members of CRC Press, Taylor and Francis Group Publishing House for their assistance and timely motivation in producing this volume. We hope the readers will share our excitement with this important scientific contribution, the body of knowledge about various applications of CE for the management of operations. Dr. Anil Kumar, Guildhall School of Business and Law, London Metropolitan University, London, UK. Professor Jose Arturo Garza Reyes, Head of the Centre for Supply Chain Improvement, College of Business, Law and Social Sciences, the University of Derby, UK. Dr. Syed Abdul Rahman Khan, School of Economics and Management, Tsinghua University, Beijing, China. Editor Biographies. Anil Kumar is a Senior Lecturer, Associate Professor, at Guildhall School of Business and Law, London Metropolitan University, London, UK. For the last 10 years, he has been associated with teaching and research. Before joining London Metropolitan University, he was postdoctoral research fellow in area of decision sciences at Centre for Supply Chain Improvement, University of Derby, United Kingdom, UK. He earned his PhD in Management Science from ABV Indian Institute of Information Technology and Management, Gwalior, India. He did his graduation in Mathematics, HUNS, and Master of Science, Mathematics, from Kurukshetra University, India. He earned his Master of Business Administration, MBA, and qualified National Eligibility Test, NET, June 2011. He has contributed over 60+ research papers in international referred and national journals, and conferences at the international and national level. He has sound analytical capabilities to handle commercial consultancy projects and to deliver business improvement projects. He has skills and expertise of advanced statistics models, multivariate analysis, multi-criteria decision-making, fuzzy theory, fuzzy optimization, fuzzy multi-criteria decision-making, gray theory and analysis, application of soft computing, econometrics models, etc. His areas of research are sustainability science, green, sustainable supply chain management, customer retention, green purchasing behavior, sustainable procurement, sustainable development, circular economy, industry, performance measurement, human capital in supply chain and operations, decision modeling for sustainable business, and integration of operation area with others areas. Jose Arturo Garza Reyes is a Professor of Operations Management and Head of the Centre for Supply Chain Improvement at the University of Derby, UK. He is actively involved in industrial projects, where he combines his knowledge, expertise, and industrial experience in operations management to help organizations achieve excellence in their internal functions and supply chains. As a leading academic, he has led and managed international research projects funded by the European Commission, British Academy, British Council, and Mexico's National Council of Science and Technology, CONACYT. He has published extensively in leading scientific journals and 5 books in the areas of operations management and innovation, manufacturing performance measurement, and quality management systems. He is a co-founder and current editor of the International Journal of Supply Chain and Operations Resilience, INDOScience, associate editor of the International Journal of Production and Operations Management, associate editor of the Journal of Manufacturing Technology Management, and editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Industrial Engineering and Operations Management. Professor Garza Reyes has also led and guest-edited special issues for Supply Chain Management, an International Journal, International Journal of Lean Six Sigma, International Journal of Lean Enterprise Research, International Journal of Engineering Management and Economics, and International Journal of Engineering and Technology Innovation. Areas of expertise and interest for Professor Garza Reyes include general aspects of operations and manufacturing management, business excellence, quality improvement, and performance measurement. He is a Chartered Engineer, CENG, a Certified Six Sigma Green Belt, and has over 8 years of industrial experience working as production manager, production engineer, and operations manager for several international and local companies in both the UK and Mexico. He is also a fellow member of the Higher Education Academy, FHEA, and a member of the Institution of Engineering Technology, MIET. Syed Abdul Rahman Khan is a postdoctoral researcher in Tsinghua University, China. Dr. Khan achieved his CSCP Certified Supply Chain Professional Certificate from the U. and successfully completed his PhD in China. He has more than 9 years core experience of supply chain and logistics at industry and academic levels. He has attended several international conferences and also has been invited as keynote speaker in different countries. He has published many scientific research papers in different well-renowned international journals and conferences. In addition, Dr. Khan has achieved Scientific Innovation Awards 2 times consecutively by the Education Department of Shaanxi Provincial Government, China. Also, Dr. Khan holds memberships in the following well-renowned institutions and supply chain bodies: associations: APSIS-U, Production and Operation Management Society, India; Council of Supply Chain Management of Professionals U. Supply Chain Association of Pakistan, and Global Supply Chain Council China. Chapter 4: Circular and Economy. Conceptual Understanding and Adoption Challenges of Circular Economy Practices. 1. The Conceptual Model Framework for the Role of Human Resources in the Adoption of the Circular Economy. A content analysis approach. Priyanka Sehag and Ostha Dupar, Department of Management Studies, DMS, Malviya National Institute of Technology, MNIT, Jaipur, Rajasthan, India. Anil Kumar, Guildhall School of Business and Law, London Metropolitan University, London, UK. Ashok Kumar Suhag, Department of Electronics and Communication, BML Manjul University, Gurgaon, Haryana, India. 1. Introduction. 1. 2. The CE Sustainability Link. 1. 3. The Adoption of Circular Economy. 1. For the Role of Human Resources. 1. Green HRM. 2. Effective communication and active involvement of value chain actors. 3. Leadership and commitment from the top management. 4. Eco-innovation. 5. Management control. 6. Awareness about the circular economy. 7. Energy efficiency and eco-friendly material usage-driven practices. 1. 5. Conclusion. 1. 6. Future research directions. References. Chapter 5. 1. The concept of circular economy, CE, is postulated to be a new business outlook, an emerging approach that may assist the organizations and the societies in realizing the goal of sustainable development. McDowell et al. The production and consumption patterns of the humans across the globe have put the environment into a state of increased risk and precariousness. To address this issue, the adoption of CE proposes a novel perspective in terms of the organizational production and consumption, the perspective that emphasizes on restoration of the value of resources used. It suggests that replacing traditional approach of linear economy, take, make and dispose, with the circular approach, Jabber et al., 2018, of energy as well as physical resources can contribute toward economic, environmental and social advantages, Geisdorfer et al. In the linear economy, nearly 80% of what is used is straight away discarded after use, Semples and Hoffman, 2013. The waste generated in a linear economy affects human health and the environment, whereas the waste that comes from different processes when inserted into a CE produces beneficial artifacts for human use, Sikta, 2019. A CE is a production and consumption system that aims at keeping the parts, products, resources and energy in circulation for addition, recreation and maintenance of value over a period of time, Jabber et al. 2019a. The discussion around the concept of CE began in the mid-1960s, Murray et al. The term CE was first introduced by an ecological economist Boulding, 1966, and is deeply rooted in the general systems theory, von Bertalanffy, 1950, according to Ghisolini et al. Boulding, 1966, in his seminal work has depicted Earth as a closed circular system with finite absorbing capacity, and articulated that there should be an equilibrium between the economy and the environment for them to coexist, Geisdorfer et al. Since the 1970s, the concept of CE has been gaining momentum, EMF, 2013. Merli et al., 2018, have viewed CE as a progressive, multidisciplinary concept that extricates the economic growth from utilization of resources and social implications only. CE is the foundation of a green economy perspective that advances the focus from utilization of materials and associated wastages to welfare of humans and ecosystem resilience, Reichel et al. As far as the conception of CE is concerned, there is an absolute lack of consensus. Kircher et al., 2017, in their extensive work have singled out 114 different definitions of the concept, pinpointing toward the lack of concurrence on the subject. As diversified as the conceptualization of CE might be, the active role of human resources in adoption of CE is undeniable, and this is one of the major gaps in the CE literature that needs to be pursued further. Circular economy and human resources, HRM, and circular economy and HR and sustainability were used as the key terms to delineate the contribution of human resources toward the adoption of a CE. The purpose of this study is to ascertain the role that the human resources can play in smooth transition toward the CE in today's times. The prominence of green HRM, GHRM, eco-innovation, awareness at various levels of the organization and management control have been discussed as a part of the role of human resources. The chapter has been structured as follows. Section 2 discusses the CE sustainability link. Section 3 incorporates the prominence of adoption of the CE. In Section 4, the role of human resources has been discussed in length, followed by conclusion and future research recommendations in Section 5 and 6 respectively. Chapter 6, 1. The notion of CE is associated with the sustainability sciences, which is grounded in the research streams of industrial ecology, Erkman, 1997, cleaner production, Fresner, 1998, cradle to cradle, C2C, McDonough and Braungart, 2002, Industrial Ecosystems, Jelinski et al., 1992, Industrial Symbioses, Schertow and Ehrenfeld, 2012, Biomimicry, Benyus, 1997, Regenerative Design, Lyle, 1996, Performance Economy, Starhell, 2010, Natural Capitalism, Hawken et al., 1999, and The Conceit of Zero. Emissions, Pauly, 2010. In the context of business enterprises today, CE is thought through as a means of better resiliency, cost reduction, creation of value, revenue, and legitimacy, Park et al., 2010, Tucker, 2015, Obinati et al., 2017, Maninen et al. As defined by WCED, World Commission on Environment and Development, 1987, sustainability is the development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their ends. CE is an integral part of sustainable development, Mokhtardia et al. It is identified as a closed-loop value chain, Preston, 2012, wherein the complete wastage is collected through proper channels and reiterated to the manufacturing units to be reused, Yuan and Morigichi, 2008. It is that economy whose design happens to be restorative and regenerative, focusing on the expansion of the value chain, Mokhtardia et al. It focuses on sustainable manufacturing practices as well as sustainable environmental practices through elimination and reduction of elementary waste, Fisher and Pascucci, 2017. CE is considered as a part of Sustainable Development Framework, which operates on the principle of closing the life cycle of goods resulting in the minimization of raw materials, energy and water. Jabber et al., 2019a, and intends to conceive a restorative industrial design. Geisdorfer et al. CE is a structure formed by the societal production-consumption systems that magnifies the services produced from the linear nature society nature material and energy flow by the use of cyclical material, renewable sources of energy flows of the cascading type. Korhonen et al. The adoption of CE stimulates people towards more sustainable actions and ensures formulation of regulations that cater to the goal of sustainability. Anderson, 2007, Biggio and Pronzini, 2014, Haas et al., 2015, Miliuk-Plepin and Plepis, 2015, Schneider, 2015. CE is the primary driver that gives impetus to a society that is more sustainable. UNEP, 2006, and augments eco-innovations such that the well-being at the social, Geng et al., 2016, and economic level is ensured. Genovese et al. 2017, De Jesus and Mendon A., 2018. CE and the concept of sustainability are considered similar, but CE is a condition, a beneficial precursor for sustainability. Geisdorfer et al. Both the concepts focus on the intra- and intergenerational commitments triggered by ecological hazards, which indicate the significance of deliberation on the concurring pathways of development. Both the concepts emphasize on the shared responsibilities and the importance of coordination between multiple players, wherein the system design and the innovativeness are the main drivers for realization of the said goals. While the CE aims at evolution of a closed loop, eliminating wastages and leakages of the system, the concept of sustainability tends to deliver environmental, economic, and societal benefits at large. Elkington, 1997, and the ones benefiting from the adoption of CE are the economic players responsible for implementation of the system. The CE is preeminently associated with the economic systems with primary benefits for the environment and tacit benefits for the society. On the other hand, the notion of sustainability, as originally developed, treats all the three dimensions equitably. Geisdorfer et al. Chapter 7. 1. The significance of CE stems from the fact that natural resources are scarce and maximization of the circularity of resources and energy within systems may lead to retention of some value from these resources at the end of their life. Ghisolini et al. The natural resources are finite and being depleted ruthlessly. The consumption of resources is more than that can be replaced. Meadows et al. It is expected that by 2050, the population living on Earth and enjoying growing wealth would be around 9 billion, Godfrey et al., 2010, which will lead to the demand of resources to almost thrice of what it is currently. CE involves a systems approach where interdependence and holism are of utmost importance to manage the finite resources of the companies. Nall et al. In the World Economic Forum, 2014, report, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and McKinsey & Company have deduced that the adoption of the CE would generate an opportunity of more than $1 trillion for the worldwide economy. Macroeconomically, the adoption of CE model may result in enhancement of resource productivity by 3%, resulting in cost savings of €1 trillion per year, addition of €1 trillion to other economic benefits by 2030, McKinsey & Company, 2015, and net material cost and saving benefits of more than $600 billion p. By 2025 through this restorative approach, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, 2013. The World Business Council for Sustainable Development, 2017, has asserted that the adoption of the CE can result in increased growth, competitive advantages, and innovation along with reduction in costs, energy use and emission, leading to a better supply chain and judicious use of resources. Even PricewaterhouseCoopers, 2017a, has adjudged that the CE is here to stay, and the company has elucidated that the CE will open up the avenues to build competitive advantage and create profit pools, develop resilience, and address significant issues faced by the businesses today. PricewaterhouseCoopers, 2017b. In the literature, 3 levels of initiatives have been identified for the implementation of the principles of CE. The micro level of firms that relates to the initiatives specific to the firms classified on the basis of 3 Rs: reduce, reuse and recycle, Ying and Li Jun, 2012. The second level is the meso level that incorporates the execution of eco-industrial parks, networks and inter-firm collaborations for optimum utilization of resources. Finally, at the macro level, the initiatives undertaken by the government and policymakers are accounted for. Geng and Doberstein, 2008. Today, the countries are becoming self-reliant and aware of the requirement to switch to a newer system based on the principles of circularity. Bonview, 2014. According to MacArthur et al. 2015, the 3 principles that guide the CE cycles are as follows: strengthening the circularity of resources and energy by increasing the life of the resources either through biological or technical cycles. Decrement in the negative effects of production setup. Conservation of natural resources, equilibrium between consumption of renewables and the non-renewables. For implementation of the principles of CE, Ellen MacArthur Foundation, 2015, has delineated 6 business actions: the Resolve framework, regenerate based on the adoption of renewable resources and energy, reclaim, retain ecosystems wellness and enhance the natural biocapacity. Share. According to the shared economy perspective, the significance of ownership is lost when the resources are shared between individuals. Resultantly, products should be designed such that they can be reused and they last longer. Optimize. It is a technology-centered approach. This strategy recommends use of digital manufacturing technologies, like sensors, RFID, big data, and remote route to scale down the waste generated in production systems across supply chains in an organization. Loop. This stems from the biological and technical cycles wherein the components and materials are kept in closed loops and emphasized on the inner loops. Virtualize. The focus of this strategy is on the replacement of physical products with virtual products. Exchange. Adoption of new technologies to improve the way in which the goods and services are produced. This implicates replacing obsolete and non-renewable goods with the newer renewable goods. Apart from the Resolve framework, the principles of CE can be implemented through the 3 Rs: reduce, reuse, recycle, Wu et al., 2014, or the 6 Rs: reuse, recycle, redesign, remanufacture, reduce, recover, Joahir and Bradley, 2016. The CE concept has altered the policies and innovation in the major economies of the world, namely China, Germany, Japan, and the UK. The extant literature on the circular economies and instances of the successes and breakdowns from the real world necessitate the integration of bottom-up and top-down strategies for implementation and evaluation of CE. Winans et al. The different frameworks found in the literature to effectuate the principles of circular economy. Chapter 8. 1. The human side of the organizations, also referred as the soft side, Wilkinson, 1992, has been of great interest to scholars since a long time. McGregor, 1966. The Sustainable Human Resources, Hughesland, 1995, and the CE both exert an influence on the firm's performance, Despies et al., 2017, and the competitive advantages, but unfortunately the human side of the CE has not received adequate attention in the CE literature. Jabber et al., 2019b. The 2 relevant organizational theories that assist in building sustainable organizations is the stakeholder theory and the resource-based view, RBV, Soddy, 2015. The stakeholder theory, Freeman et al., 2004, features HRM as a key factor in influencing and getting influenced by the Organizational Sustainability Management, SODI, 2015. Similarly, the RBV of the firm, which identifies a human resource as valuable and unique, Barney, 2001, and the natural RBV uphold the positive effects of HRM, Wright et al., 1994, and sustainability initiatives, Hart and Dowell, 2011, on firm performance respectively. The human side or the soft side of the organizations is as important as the hard or technical side when the question of managing an organization for organizational and environmental sustainability comes forth, Rennick et al. In the purview of human resource management, employees are the critical factors that are instrumental to value addition in an organization, and these are the resources that are capable of making a difference when it comes to innovation, organizational performance, and the eventual business success. Bakker and Schofeli, 2008. Human capital is the most important asset for any organization, Guest, 2001, because it is owing to the capability of human resources that the physical resources are utilized and the income is generated for the business firms. Flamholtz, 1999. In order to amalgamate the concepts of human resource management and CE, the formulation of such strategies is of utmost importance that stimulate the economic, social, and environmental strategies of the organizations. Jabber and Santos, 2008. The conceptual model depicting the role of human resources in adoption of the circular economy along with the challenges and CE as a precursor to organizational sustainability are also outlined. The contribution of human resource management towards CE and sustainability can be seen in the following ways. Innovation helps the organizations find superior performance in economic terms. Jamrog et al. 2006. The effective management of diversity can contribute towards social performance and effectiveness of the environmental management system, and the augmentation of eco-friendly products can contribute towards environmental performance. Jabber and Santos, 2008. The ways in which human resources can play a role in adoption of CE is detailed as follows. 1. Green HRM. GHRM is critical in establishing desirable sustainability initiatives for organizations. Jackson et al. GHRM practices encompass various dimensions like eco-focused recruitment and selection, green performance measurement and rewards, ecological training, developing green teams in the organization, empowerment of employees in relation to environmental initiatives, and cultivating an organizational culture with major focus on environmental sustainability. Jabber and Santos, 2008. The effect of GHRM on firms' sustainability indicators is an outcome of the workforce's enhanced green behavior owing to GHRM. Pham et al., 2019, Kim et al. Green human resource management pertains to the alignment of human resource practices, systems, and the strategic aspects like organizational culture and employee empowerment with organizational and environmental goals. Rennick et al. The organizations should channel their recruitments towards selection of the people committed to the environmental system. Training and evaluation of the performance of the individuals should be done on the basis of environmental criteria. The reward system of the company as well should incorporate remunerative and non-remunerative ways to stimulate environmental performance, inculcate environmental values as a part of corporate culture, and promote environmental education and interaction between the teams to combat the environmental problems. Wehrmeyer, 1996, Jabber and Santos, 2008. The accomplishment of the goal of CE is not the responsibility of the human resources at a particular level. The employees as well as the management, irrespective of the organizational hierarchy, should aim towards the realization of CE. Similarly, the introduction of sustainability measures should be accompanied by attempts to embed them within the internal-external relationships framework, the reward systems and more. If not so, the initiatives are bound to be fruitless. On similar grounds, the introduction to CE needs to be accompanied by the concept of green HRM. Kirsch and Connell, 2018. 2. Effective communication and active involvement of value chain actors. Over the past years, the insertion of the environmental dimension in the everyday organizations is the biggest change that has taken place in the business world. Rosen, 2001. The model of CE calls for innovation, Singh and Ordo EZ, 2016, and new skills. For an economy to adopt the circular design, it is imperative for it to develop new proficiencies, along with the evolution in the skill set for smooth transition towards the CE. Increased attention should be given to the participation of all value chain actors, Bokken et al., 2018, and effective communication across the supply chain, which can be done by enhancing trust and shared values collectively to attain the intended goal, Nal et al. The dissemination of environment-related information in an organization should appease the benchmarks of timeliness, relevance, accessibility, and precision, Sawi and Quasi, 2005. Starhell, 2016, brought in the notion of performance economy that forms the basis for business models of CE. Instead of sale of the product, the sale of use of the product is gaining popularity. The organizations should endorse the concept of CE in their marketing activities as well. Kumar and Venkatesan, 2005, Van Heerd et al., 2013, Baxendale et al. 2015, which can be done through the advertisements on the company website, in-store advertising and sales personnel, communication around CE through various channels and association of customers with the circularity initiatives of the organization. 3. Leadership and commitment from the top management. Commitment can be described as a psychological state that delineates the interaction of individuals with various aspects of the company, affecting the final decision to keep up the connection with the aspect in consideration. LMS and Sovalainen, 2000, Meyer et al. Managerial commitment is strategically important for the alignment of resources with the predetermined objectives of the company. Nal et al. Apart from the employees of the organizations, it is the top leadership that has the responsibility to maintain a sustainable environment. The top management may play an important part in adopting cleaner technologies for the process of manufacturing in companies. Gazilla et al., 2015. Accommodation of such techniques in the manufacturing process leads to reduced levels of water pollution, less carbon emissions, eco-friendly supply systems, green transportation, and sustainable manufacturing practices in a CE. Nowosielski et al. The setting of environmental vision and policies is the most important responsibility of the top management in today's times. To attain the environmental goals, be it the goal of sustainability or the adoption of CE, the environmental issues should be integrated into the significant business functions and operations. Sawi and Quasi, 2005. At the managerial level, planning, organizing, leading and controlling are the major functions of management. For the adoption of CE, effective planning and management for optimum utilization of resources is required. Inappropriate planning or the lack of preparation may largely hamper the adequacy of CE and mislead the active players across the supply chain. Mangler et al. As evident in the literature, there is a lack of managerial support to environmental practices. Chu and Geng, 2013. Generally, it is seen that the environmental practices are actualized in a top-down manner with a major responsibility to attain the goal of sustainability restricted to the CEOs, as these are the human resources who have the utmost influence on the allocation of resources and strategy formulation. Kiron et al., 2012, Epstein and Buhovac, 2014. For eco-innovation, the process of innovation involves increase in the value of the organizations through the development of either new knowledge or processes for the effective and dynamic use of knowledge available for use or to facilitate organizational change. Furthermore, human resource management has a crucial role to play in encouraging innovation inside the organizations. Jabber and Santos, 2008. The positive impact of HRM on innovative performance of the companies has been empirically supported by the study of Larson and Foss, 2003. As pointed out by Stuhler and Jackson, 1987, the major aim of HRM is to foster innovation and put in action the practices that compel the employees to think and create in different ways. Long-term focus, higher risk-taking abilities, higher degree of cooperation and interdependent behavior are a few characteristics suggested by the above-mentioned authors for the alignment of employees' behavior with the innovation strategy of the company. The advancements of cleaner technologies especially require human resources to enact a diligent role to be aware of the environmental strategy of the company, and the competencies required for the enhancement of the environmental performance. For the environmental dimension to be included in the fundamental organizational activities, employees are the primary players engaged in this task. Rothenberg, 2003. 5. Management control, as introduced by Robert Anthony, establishes a link between the strategic planning and the operational control. Herath, 2007. The notable ambit of the management control lies in a. Evolution, analysis and response to the information for critical decision-making and b. to direct the employees' behavior such that the way in which the employees behave and the decisions are coherent with the overall organizational objectives and strategies. Chen Hall, 2003, Anthony et al. The use of management control is vital for the organization to attain its strategic objective of circularity. Svensson and Funk, 2019. For adapting to CE, Marmite and Brown's, 2008, framework enumerating 5 management control mechanisms has been discussed below. Culture controls includes articulation of organizational values and visions, socialization of employees post-recruitment to guide and acquaint them with the organizational procedures and existing manpower. The company's vision regarding the circular values should be clearly communicated. Internal communication of circularity is essential for the employees, but external cultural control for disseminating the idea of CE to foster the demand of sustainable products and services is even more important. Uyara et al. Planning signifies planning at the strategic level and action planning. The strategies for adopting CE should be translated into specific action plans, but this action planning is not possible without effective internal communication in the organization. Cybernetic controls constitute the budgeting, measurement, and cost accounting systems. When planning a product, the organization should emphasize on the flexibility of its use and product life extension, which provides cost benefits and affects investment appraisals. Svensson and Funk, 2019. Rewards and compensation to keep the employees motivated and to make them feel valued in the organization. Administrative controls such as division of work and delegation of authority and responsibility to make decisions. All these mechanisms are related to each other as concrete action plans, analysis of costs and material flows. All these functions affect the ultimate decision-making in an organization. 6. Awareness about the circular economy. Employee involvement and motivation in the organization are important factors in gaining knowledge about the CE. The employees may come forward and apprise the management about the benefits of CE. Moqtadir et al. Taking the perspective of customers into consideration, in today's times the consumers are more concerned about the environmental outcomes. Awareness of the customers about the green initiatives plays a pivotal role in the adoption of CE. Stock and Seeliger, 2011. The execution of green teams is a critical step towards the realization of environmental goals. The awareness possessed by the employees is not enough. The awareness and the knowledge of the CE and the environmental dimensions possessed by them should be utilized within the organizations. The employees should be motivated to give suggestions, the inputs offered by them should be valued, and the employees should be empowered to handle the circumstantial problems and contribute towards the environmental performance of the company. Sawi and Quasi, 2005. 7. Energy efficiency and eco-friendly material usage-driven practices. There have been many attempts by the scholars in the past to assess indicators of energy efficiency and conservation in reference to a CE, Li et al., 2010, Su et al. The main focus of a CE is to minimize the amount of energy consumed and to reduce leakages in the system, Starhell, 2013. The production processes and products should be designed in such a way that the detrimental impacts on the environment are minimized. The environmental concerns should be integrated into the product at the design stage only, and the recycling activities should be planned to warrant full usage of resources. Sawi and Quasi, 2005. The management and the employees of the enterprises engaged in the process of manufacturing should strive to make the business plan feasible by using ad hoc strategies, natural, dependable, reusable and divisible, of handling the material in the initial stages of product development itself, Nal et al. In addition to this, the role of design, DFX practices, design for reuse, design for remanufacturing, design for environment, etc., has been accounted as an important factor for the transition towards an economy that is more circular. Moreno et al., 2016, De Los Rios and Charnley, 2017. CE is the exemplification of the quintessential shift that considers nature as an inspiration to respond to social and environmental needs. It is a system that warrants a paradigm switch in the way the goods and services are produced and consumed. Cohen-Rosenthal, 2000, Hofstra and Huising, 2014. The adoption of CE can undoubtedly contribute in making the processes as well as the products more efficient. The human resources, especially the top management, has a pivotal role to play in the adoption of the CE. The human resources should emphasize on practicing a more closed-loop recycling where the focus is on the reusage of material. The materials like glass and steel can be recycled constantly. In addition to embracing the closed-loop recycling, the use of products should be widened. The human resources are endowed with a special feature, that is knowledge. It is through the application of this knowledge that the organizational goals and development can be realized. The human resources should convene such policies, which aim at lengthening and widening the usage of products, wherein the remanufacturing of physical goods takes place such that the goods can be reutilized for secondary markets or the industries running with less sophisticated infrastructure. Along with taking up the remanufacturing practices, the organizations, instead of selling products to the customers directly, renting or leasing may be opted for, under which the ownership of the goods is retained by the company throughout the life cycle of the product, and upon exhaustion of the product, it may well be returned to the organization itself. TSE et al. Chapter 9, 1. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, the human race has been excessively reliant on the natural resources for consumption and improvisation in the standards of living. But with elapse of time, the resources are becoming increasingly scarce and expensive. To deal with this problem of limited resources, new ways to conceive a more sustainable environment should be brought into being rapidly. TSE et al. CE has a resolute environmental focus, Jones and Comfort, 2017, and is a pertinent strategy that contemplates a new way to modify the traditional system focusing only on the consumption at customers' end into a circular system. Starhell, 2013. CE is envisioned as an approach to lessen the conflicts between competitive and environmental preferences of a company, shaping the organization to be more competitive and reducing its environmental impressions at the same time. Gusmarotti et al. CE is viewed as a promising solution for a number of reasons. Primarily, the adoption of CE minimizes the overexploitation of natural resources and waste generation. Secondly, across the life cycles of products, the control over the goods and materials lies with the focal firms only, whereby the firms can choose to retain the ownership of the product with themselves and offer it as a service to the customers. Bocken et al. The major focus of the corporate initiatives and the human resources while framing the policies has been on recycling and zero-waste procedures, Jones and Comfort, 2017, but the development of an effective CE postulates the inclusion of whole consumer product life cycle and waste management so as to draw in all the sectors of the economy into the realm of circularity. The literature around the CE constitutes of the conceptualization of the CE, determinants of CE, principles to guide adoption of CE and barriers to the implementation of circular economy. The significance of organizations adopting a CE is very clear in the literature, but the way in which this can be actually done is obscure. Since the transition to the CE requires involvement of human resources at various levels and organizational functions, the role of human resource management in supporting the CE is manifold. Even Eisenstadt, 1996, has asserted that human resources have a dominant role to play in organizations as it is a function that can vitalize the issues of sustainability by incorporating those in the interfirm as well as intrafirm relationships. According to Geisdorfer et al. 2017, CE can be achieved through maintenance, remanufacturing, recycling, facilitating long-lasting arrangement, repair, reuse, and refurbishing, but the execution of all these measures is not possible without the intervention of human resources. The effective implementation of the CE is only possible through the amalgamation of advanced technologies into the processes. Su et al. 2013. The choice of technology involved also points towards the importance of human resources in the adoption of CE. As mechanized and automated as the processes in today's world might be, the effectiveness and efficiency of the organizational activities and procedures depends on the adequacy and alignment of the natural, technical, and human resources. Adoption of CE at the organizational level is undoubtedly a complicated task, Svensson and Funk, 2019, and the transition to CE in organizations requires novel strategies to conduct business activities, ING, 2015, requiring new targets to be calibrated in new ways, ESIC, 2016. It is of primal importance for the human resources of an organization to support the environmental management system of the organizations, foster organizational change and ensure alignment of all the functional dimensions. Wehrmeier, 1996. Chapter 10, 1. Since the literature on the CE is extensive, there are a number of research directions that need to be addressed for effective implementation of the CE. Exchange of information has been one of the major constraints on the efficacy of CE. Winans et al., 2017. Future research should incorporate the communication and involvement within the organizations as the central point of research to cater to the requirements of CE. Secondly, the integrative framework assimilating the role of human resources in this chapter may be empirically tested to know how the variables interact with each other, as there is an absolute lack of empirical studies on the link between human resources and CE. Further research on the subject can be substantiated through case studies. Thirdly, the CE connotes radical changes in the managerial practices of organizations, for example, utilizing resources and energy in an efficient way such that the environmental impact is reduced. More attention should be given to the ways in which the companies can integrate the scarce resources with the CE managerial capabilities. Now et al. On similar grounds, which all managerial practices should be adopted by the companies for the implementation of the CE warrants more attention. Moreover, research on CE should focus on initiatives taken by people, the contribution of these towards the triple bottom line, Elkington, 1997. Attention should also be given to organizational sustainability in this context. In the adoption of CE, multiple players are involved at various levels. Integration of the actions of all the players is challenging, and elimination of resistance on the part of stakeholders, customers, and top management may be difficult. The competence of human resources in promoting and embracing the sustainability initiatives such as the CE span across the boundaries of a firm, Nijati et al., 2017, and given the rapidly changing environment that the humans are living in, environmental sustainability, Jackson et al., 2014, environmental management and the CE should be the focal point of the budding HR research. That is the heart of circular economy for the management of operations. If it helped, a quick subscribe keeps more summaries coming. So how do management and economy connect? That is exactly where we started. Go back to the top and watch it click into place.